Hello, and welcome to the United States Embassy in Canberra. I'm John Barry, and this is my partner, Curtis Yee, and together we're very honored to welcome you to our Art and Embassy collection here in our home. Come on in. We chose this work, Shiprock, by T.H. Tuck. It captures a very important geologic formation on the Navajo Nation in New Mexico. It also represents the kinship between Native Americans and Aboriginal Australians who have a keen sense of place and understand and appreciate the wonders of nature. Shiprock is revered by the Navajo as a great bird who saved the tribe by bringing them here to the lands that they now enjoy today. It is called Rock with Wings. This is my favorite piece in this show by Hawaiian artist John Maidock. It's entitled As Above, So Below. It is a technique called pyrography, or writing with fire, wood burning, where he has burned in, as you can see through the wood, a very complicated story showing the conservation challenges under the sea also apply in the air. And you can see abandoned fishing gear entangling a migrating seabird and thereby creating that linkage that the artist is conveying. We also have another piece entitled Oasis, which is carved from one single block of Norfolk pine and enameled with beautiful Hawaiian art. One of the things Curtis and I enjoy most about Australia is the wonderful parrots that exist here. These two king parrots, painted by Katarina Mortensen, an Australian artist, we enjoy in our very backyard while having coffee in the morning. But it also points out, we believe, an important message. Conservation is not just about saving endangered species. It's about saving all species, because our children and our grandchildren deserve to see wonders like this in their own lives, in their own backyards, for real.
This is probably the most unusual piece in our collection. It's called Shoal of Shame, and it was sculpted by Australian artist Victoria Barrison. This was loaned to us by the husband of marine biologist Dr. Wendy Wicks in her memory. This piece is constructed solely of recycled materials, such as the hundreds of used soy sauce containers you normally find in takeout sushi boxes. Through this piece, the artist is showing us the impact that humans have on the ocean through pollution and through overfishing.
Two pieces that will warm everyone's hearts are Joel Sartore's photographs of the American black-footed ferret and Koala Mother and her joeys. Mr. Sartore is a Nebraskan natural wildlife photographer and a 20-year contributor to National Geographic magazine. His work is to document endangered species and landscapes as well in order to show a world that is worth saving. This is the signature piece of our collection. It's by Kevin Sloan, an artist from Denver, Colorado, who paints in an allegorical, realistic style, almost like James Audubon. And he himself describes his work as trying to begin a conversation about nature. In this painting, called The Worrier, you can see the pelican is worried for the future of his own species, and thereby is gathering up as many timepieces or as much time as he possibly can, hoping for the best for the future. We are very proud to have two sculptures from our first state, Delaware, by Andre Harvey. This is of a green sea turtle. It is titled The Pilgrimage, and he really captures the beautiful movement of this animal. You can see or imagine its movement through the water. He also has a sculpture of a manatee that is entitled The Survivor, one of the most peaceful, placid animals in the world is threatened by its very peacefulness. And we are working with boaters and sports fishermen all around the United States to help conserve them for future generations. Susan Middleton is an amazing photographer from California, and we're very lucky to have 6 of her works in the show. The 2 in the living room here are of the bald eagle and the black-footed ferret. Both of these species were very close to extinction. Amazing to think that our national symbol was almost lost during my lifetime. But because enough people cared, the bald eagle today flies in all 50 states, and the black-footed ferret has been successfully reintroduced into the Dakotas. Susan Middleton also has beautiful works that capture the wonders of the sea turtles, and the endangered Hawaiian monk seal, which I hope you will enjoy.
We're very lucky to have these 2 wonderful pieces by Nicola Dixon. She's a local painter from Canberra, and she did these as part of her PhD thesis while she was a student at Australian National University. This one is called Nouvelle Femme, and the one next to it is called Nouvelle Venus. And what's interesting about these 2 is that Nouvelle Femme is the woman, an indigenous woman, is painted in the pose of a painting that was originally done by a French naturalist in the 18th century of a woman from New Caledonia. And the other painting, called Nouvelle Venus, is done of a woman in the pose of Botticelli's Venus, or The Birth of Venus in a Clamshell. And in these paintings, Nicola Dixon is trying to show us how 18th century Europeans viewed Australians as exotic beings, beings that were tied up with the natural fauna and flora of Australia. Okay, this is one of our favorite pieces in our exhibition. It's called Flat Screen Icon by an Australian artist named David Atkins. And this piece was one of the finalists in the 2013 Waterhouse competition sponsored by the National Gallery of South Australia in Adelaide. In this mixed media piece, the artist has painted, using 24-karat gold leaf, an image of a rare seahorse called the leafy sea dragon, and he has done it on the backs of 120 empty sardine tins. And the artist tells us that he ate every one of the almost 1,000 sardines in those cans. And through this piece, he's trying to show the abundance of some of the life in the ocean in contrast to the rarity of other forms like this particular seahorse.
We're very lucky to have 2 works by a young New York artist, Cordy Ryman, who uses recycled and found materials to convey a greater sensitivity towards the environment. This work, Schuff's Nest, and the other work, Luca, capture the heart of reduce, reuse, recycle message that is so important for conservation. We love this linocut by Marion Manifold, an Australian artist, which really tells the story, one of the great challenges of modern conservation in Australia. Here she shows cats and foxes, 2 introduced species, which now number in the millions throughout Australia. On average, you have to figure they eat between 5 and 10 small ground nesting birds and mammals like the bandicoot she's portrayed here on a daily basis, which translates into millions of birds and mammals lost each year. So many of Australia's birds and mammals are threatened, and one of the leading causes are these 2 invasive species. So controlling them is one of our greatest challenges in the modern era.
This piece is called Vanity Fair, and it was drawn by Australian Kate Bergen. It's really what happens when you introduce exotic species to native species, and what you get is pandemonium. As you can see, there's a tea party going on here, and the animals have no idea what to do with these spoons and telephones at a tea party. These devices are as exotic to them as they are to us.
Curtis and I hope you enjoyed the tour of our Arts and Embassy program regarding conservation. Hope is strongest when we work together across national boundaries, because birds, whales, and countless other species don't recognize those lines as they migrate to eat, breed, and survive. Australia, and indeed our world, abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. The globe is an ark filled with precious cargo. Each of us, no alike, is accountable for Earth's abundant manifest. Every dire example of threat can be overcome if we are willing to share land and water while living a little more sustainably. With our arms, hearts, and brains, we can recover lost ground and make our story's ending truly happy. Let's begin.